Well, I was a student at Katy High School a long time ago when Katy was a very small high school, and was looking at where I wanted to go to college. Most of the classmates, many of my classmates, I guess, were looking at the University of Texas. Katy at the time had about 2,500 people. The University of Texas had 20,000 people. It seemed overwhelming to me. I had an opportunity as part of the high school debate team to go to Stephen F. Austin to a tournament. It was a February weekend. You'd had a fresh snowfall. As you know, that campus is gorgeous almost any time, but right after a snowfall, it was absolutely spectacular. We won the debate tournament. That came with a scholarship to go back to Stephen F. Austin, and so I went to Stephen F. Austin. As a debater, I spent a lot of time with Donald Graham, who at the time was the debate coach. I think that probably the time I spent with Graham and my teammates and the whole debate process has paid off over the years. I've had an opportunity to do leadership roles in the American Medical Association, to do leadership roles here at Texas A&M, and the comfort with standing in front of a camera or taking a topic that you perhaps weren't extraordinarily well versed in and being able to talk to those things in an intelligent fashion has paid off for me for 40 years. So certainly Donald Graham and his impact have been there. I was a psychology major, so there were a number of people, John Anson to Heinz Gaylord, all had an impact in terms of certainly my academic career, and as I was leaving Stephen F. Austin and applying to go to medical school, they'd had such a positive impact that I seriously considered just staying on and getting a PhD in clinical psychology. They were not only challenging professors, but in some way managed to be friends with many of the people in their department. I think that's the other thing that you have to say about Stephen F. Austin. It's big enough to offer you a great education, but small enough that you don't get lost. You actually have people that you feel like you made a relationship with, that you could sit down and talk to as a counselor, as a friend, as an academic career leader. Well, I think the fact that it offers a strong academic platform, but it also provides that sense of belonging, of family, of friendship, to many students, especially I was a first-generation college student. If you take off and go to a college that is really just in the business of cranking out college credits, I think you can get lost. You get lost literally in terms of what am I doing academically. I think you can get lost figuratively in terms of where do I belong? You know, what part of this is mine? How do I find the right friend group? There are lots of different groups at Stephen F. Austin. How do I find my group? I think Stephen F. Austin does that quite well. Certainly they did 40 years ago. And those are the things that create staying power. And you put it in East Texas, where it's a pretty place to be, and you try to convince every student that they are meaningful to Stephen F. Austin. I think that's enough for staying power. I hope that it will continue to grow in quality, in breadth, in depth, obviously, but I hope it doesn't aspire to become 25 or 30 or 40,000 students. I think that one of the absolute priceless pieces of Stephen F. Austin is that it is a manageable size population. I hope that they identify the things that make them special academically and invest in those so you become extraordinarily powerful in fill in the blank. I would often say to people that I'd rather be kind of a big fish in a small pond. But to do that, you're going to have to attract the very best students that want to study forestry, biology, nursing. We've got a fabulous nursing program there. So invest in those programs, make them world class, make sure that the supporting education piece, English and history and math and so forth, are in fact of a quality to support world-class programs, and then become the absolute gem that people say, oh, that's where you got to go.